This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. All right, get your mind ready. I hope you brought your mind to this podcast because you're about to get a mind for sales with my buddy Mark Hunter, CSP.
Thank you for having me on. And I know you have a mind. I think
do.
I have a mind. So let's talk about mind, shall we?
We could talk about minds. And so this is a departure from your other two books. We've got the fantastic High Profit Selling, followed up by the even more fantastic High Profit Prospecting. Now we're taking, I think, the exact right turn at the exact right time, which is talking about sales mindset and the way we think about sales, the way we think about sales as a profession. As you say in the book, it's not even a profession to you anymore. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being in the world. Talk about how this book came about and what needs you saw with your prospects and audiences that made it such a necessity for them to hear this message.
Well, first of all, I'm impressed that you actually read the book. So that's cool. That is over the top. Anyway, but hey, actually the book does line up with the other two. When I wrote my first book, High Profit Selling, it was about maximizing the price. Then I realized, wait a minute, you can't maximize the price if you have the wrong prospects. So then wrote High Profit Prospecting. Then I realized, hey, you can't prospect unless you got the right mindset. So then I said, write the book, A Mind for Sales. Basically, I'm just following the Star Wars ideas of creating prequels. That's all. I mean, especially right now. I mean, yeah, when I wrote this book a year ago, did I realize we were going to be in the middle of COVID-19? No. Timing is everything. Hey, it works out. Because I'll tell you what, I'm getting a lot of notes back already from people saying, hey, this book is so spot on for right now. It's mind-blowing. So, hey.
I guess the good news and the bad news is people have always been screwed up with their mindset. Good times, bad times, turbulence, stability, whatever. Sales seems to be an evergreen challenge. Let's talk about the current environment, though, because you and I, before we turned on the mics, we said, man, some people are still, they got their heads in the sand, they're in denial, or they're frozen in fear. They're not stepping up to help their clients. They're not, maintaining their visibility. What are some do's and don'ts in this crazy, turbulent, uncertain time to keep our mindset strong? And obviously some of these are in the book, but specifically to stay in the game and to keep selling through this craziness.
Well, see, if I shared you right now, they wouldn't have to buy the book. So we're going to have to just end this episode right now.
That's it. Well, thanks for being on, Mark. This was a great interview. It's been super helpful.
It's been great talking to you. No, I mean, first of all, got to realize that there are opportunities. Like when we were in the green room before we hit record, we were talking about there are opportunities out there. And there are people who are still in denial, and that's not the river in Egypt.
Meaning business as usual, nothing happened, websites are the same, selling strategies are the same.
Or denial that, this isn't happening. If I just put my head in the sand and wait a few months, everything will come. You have to pivot. Every industry out there is being impacted differently. Don't think for a moment that the industry you happen to be in is the only one being impacted. Believe me, everyone is. Now, here's the whole thing, though. This is what I tell people. Don't necessarily think that your boat only floats in the lake you've been in. You sometimes got to pick it up and move it to a different lake. And that's what we all got to do right now, because I am finding opportunities. But here's the way you find opportunities. You got to have conversations, but conversations with positive people. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of negative voices out there. You can't afford. Jim Rohn used a line years ago. You become the sum of the 5 people you associate with the most, right? Now, for some of you who are living in your home with 4 kids, 2 in-laws, and who knows what else. I know that's a little bit tough right now, but I'll tell you what, you got to keep your head screwed on straight. You've got to be associating with the voices of calm, the voices of reason, and the voices of, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Because there are plenty of opportunities out there if you take the time to listen, think outside the box, and be willing to take a risk. Come on, folks, better take a risk because you know what? The world changed in case you didn't get the memo.
I was just having a conversation with a client about this yesterday, and I said there's two ways to look at this. Way number one is that if your program, if your service, if your product wasn't really that good to begin with, it was a nice to have before, and now it's irrelevant. If your program was always good and always strong and always helped people and companies and entrepreneurs be more successful, then previously it was a nice to have and now it's a have to have. And you need to be opening more doors and having more conversations about how you can help your prospects and clients. And the other thing I said, Mark, which is a total mindset shift and relates to a lot of the great things that you say in the book, this is absolutely a time to help more. And it's absolutely a time to serve more. But it is not a time to sell or market any less.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And you're preaching to the choir with me right here, right now. But the audience needs to hear it. Now, let's run with this because you said a lot. You have to really take a step back and think, what are the outcomes you create with whatever it is that you do? What are the outcomes you create? This isn't what you sell. If you were a speaker, people come to my events. That's not what they're buying. They're buying because you're going to change something. Because I always say the definition of sales is helping others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. Now, the only thing that's changed is the delivery method. That's it. That's it. The outcome is the same. My calendar is absolutely full. In fact, my assistant just sent me a text message 5 minutes ago saying, hey, can we fit this person in for a call at 12 noon? And I said, that is the only window of time I have available today. My calendar is full because, yes, I'm not getting on American Airlines like I used to. I'm not staying in hotels. Yeah, but you know what? I am as busy as ever. In fact, you know what? I'm actually talking to more clients on any given day because I'm not traveling. I have upped my game from an efficiency level. I'm really thinking PC, not political correctness. I'm talking post-COVID. I'm probably not going to be traveling nearly as much because I'm really setting up a pretty good system to be able to interface with clients from right here.
You're getting spoiled, buddy. You're going to have my business model pretty soon.
Hey, I tell you what, I don't have that fancy bookcase. I got this monitor. I did bring a new plant in. You notice that behind it?
Very attractive.
My assistant has said she is going to come over and paint the wall behind me and move some bookcases around. But I said, nah, I'd look too much like David Newman. I don't want to do that. I don't want to shave my head. Although, hey, hold on. We got to do a side note. See, COVID hair is becoming a real problem with a lot of people.
What's COVID hair?
COVID hair, where you can't get a haircut for weeks.
Oh, right. Right. COVID hair.
COVID hair.
That's worse than hat hair.
Yeah, it's worse than hat hair. Yeah. See, we're all going to be wearing hats in about 3 more weeks. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, let's go back to this concept of pivoting, because I also want to acknowledge and I want to ask you about, you're on both sides of the events business. So you're a speaker, you're a consultant, you do a lot of training, you do a lot of seminars and keynotes, but you are also one of the founders and producers of the Outbound Conference. So when we talk about, oh yeah, meeting planners, gosh, they're upset, they've lost a lot of money, their world is imploding, you have firsthand direct experience about the risks and the rewards of the events business from the event producer side. So you've pivoted your speaking and consulting. We'll talk about that in a moment. What's happening with Outbound? How is that going to morph and change given some of the obstacles and opportunities?
Yeah, well, let's set the background. This is a 1,000+ event. Last year, we had people from 17 countries. It's held in Atlanta each year. It's a 2-3-day event, depending on what type of ticket you buy. And it is a big stage, major production. It was originally supposed to be in May. We had to move it to August. That date, I will publicly say, is a little bit up in the air due to the fact that it is held at the Georgia World Congress Center. That means it's the convention center for the city of Atlanta. And unfortunately, due to the way COVID is impacting, a number of cities have had to take over their convention centers to use for potential hospital facilities. So we have been notified that our date could potentially get moved. Now, the other issue that we have, of course, is with people coming from 17 countries. Are people going to come? Probably not. So we are looking at pivoting to different options. We're looking at going online with it. Now, but here's the future of online events. It's not, hey, let's go to Mark sitting in his office in Omaha. No. It's the speakers. In fact, I'm participating in one in September. This will be a large 1,000+ main stage event that was to take place in a major convention center that's been taken over by the city, by a different city. I won't say the event yet because they haven't begun to announce it. But they are still going to have us as the speakers travel to that location and do a full main stage production, probably in a different facility. But it's still going to be main stage, still going to be with all the graphics, all the shows, and there's just going to be no audience. It's just going to be streamed to everybody online. That is going to be the future of big events for probably the next 12 months, 18 months.
It's like a studio recording with camera.
Like a giant studio recording. Yes, this is going to be the future. So be thinking about this, people. How do I sit here and bring people together? Hashtag social distance or whatever criteria it's going to be come July, because probably by July, we're going to be off of this, hopefully. But again, people will probably be hesitant. I don't think you're going to want to have big groups, et cetera, et cetera. Now, again, this thing could all change dramatically. Don't know. But what I'm saying is that we have to think differently. So we as a team are thinking differently. How do we make these things work?
Hey, good looking. Are you currently getting paid to speak? Would you like to ramp that up? We can help. Book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, and let's see what we might do together. The call is free, but the results may be priceless. Let's talk about your speaking and your non-American airlines pivot.
Yeah.
You do a lot of speaking, a lot of seminars. You are on the road a lot, were on the road a lot as a road warrior. How are your clients coming to you, or how are you coming to them, suggesting these changes, still helping them and working with them, obviously preserving your revenue, hopefully accelerating their revenue if they listen to you? How did you make that bridge, and how much was postponed, how much was canceled, and how much could you convert?
Well, yeah, okay. I had a lot of events that canceled. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, I had several. I mean, my heart really goes out to my agent. She's done a magnificent job managing through it, but some stuff. We've been able to move some stuff online. We're shifting, there's consulting stuff. See, fortunately, like you, I didn't have all my eggs in one basket. I had my eggs in about 5 different baskets. See? So guess what? That chicken isn't laying eggs right now, but I can get eggs from other chickens. Yeah. So what I've been doing is I've been pivoting more. I've got some consulting clients that were loved. In fact, I just sent a note to a consulting client that I do a lot of work with. And I said, hey, good news for you. I'm going to have more time in the second quarter to really ramp up and be able to do these projects for you. That's great. Now, here's the other piece though. I can't stop prospecting. I am prospecting continuous. Let me share with you one idea that I'm doing, and it's actually turning into a product that came out of this event. I talk with a lot of people, and right now we are having more conversations with more people than ever because they're off their game. In other words, they're not traveling, they're home and so forth. So, hey, if you're sitting at home moping, let me tell you something. Get on the phone, have conversations. I'm having great conversations with people.
Are these new people, Mark? Existing people?
These are existing, they're old people. I reached out to some old clients from years ago saying, hey, how you doing? Now, here's something very interesting. I'm talking to a client that I haven't worked with in 3 or 4 years. Picked up the phone. Well, here's what it was. I had this idea from talking to a couple clients I had. They were sharing with me ideas. They were asking me, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? So I was just riffing with this CEO, on the phone. I hung up the phone. I go, that was pretty good stuff. So I wrote it down. And I turned around and sent it out to about 10 different people. I don't have that many clients. And I got some notes back. I said, wow, that was really good. So then I said, let me send it out to some other people I really like that I haven't talked to in years. I sent it out to the owner of a mid-sized company. And boom, he sent me back a note. Hey, great to hear from you. This is good stuff. You mind if I share it with my VP of sales? No, I really don't want you to. Yeah, of course I want you to share it. And then I shot him back and said, hey, we need to grab time to talk. He said, by all means, we scheduled time to talk. So we're talking on the phone, and he runs a manufacturing facility. And I asked him, I said, how's it going? He says, well, we've been deemed by Homeland Security as an essential manufacturing facility. We have to stay in operation. I said, how's that going? He says, well, it's going, but we're really keeping our fingers crossed because we have 400 employees and we have 2 production areas where employees are very close together. I'm worried. If one of them gets COVID, we're going to have to self-quarantine the entire group. And it was interesting. We had a great conversation. Wow, that's fun. So then I call up another gentleman who runs a manufacturing facility, and his sales team is in my online program. And I'm just talking to him. And he says, yeah, business is really down, capital expenditures, da, 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 da. And I go, that's interesting because I was just talking to a guy and he was saying how he's got a real problem with too many employees, too close together. Suddenly we brainstormed a new value proposition for this guy. He said, wait a minute, my salespeople need to be out there selling our equipment because it's going to help you automate more and you'll use fewer employees. And within 20 minutes on the phone, we came up with a new value proposition for this guy. Well, he calls me back 2 days later and says, Mark, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you. My sales team was kind of demotivated. They are motivated now. They're pumped. What did I do? I just took information and shared it. Now, long story short, I am now producing a document every Sunday night called Stay Calm and Lead. It's just a 1-page document newsletter that I'm sending out to about 15 or 20 people. I don't have a big list, but it's to clients and a few key prospects that I'm loving on. What am I doing? I'm staying in touch. Now, I will find a way to monetize this long term because I'm keeping all this stuff and we're going to kind of probably build this into an online program, after it's all done. But it's just tips, ideas. It's just things that I'm hearing, things that I'm seeing. How do you manage your work from home? How do you manage selling from home? How do you manage an industry that imploded on you? There is so many things out there, but you got to have a mind for sales. I'm sorry. I'll calm down.
Sales, people.
That's right.
Mind for sales.
Yeah.
Let me swing into a new topic, which is very relevant to all of this, especially in this crazy time. I'm going to give you a label. I'm going to ask if you know where I might be heading with this. I see you as either the Carlos Santana of the expert business or the Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift of sales, Taylor Swift of speaking, coaching, consulting. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I think I do, but I want you to play it out.
All right. So you are a partnering machine. You do what I do, which is feature, partner, leverage other people. So a couple of years ago, you and I did a program together, right? The summer sales seminar to pay honor to our NSA forefathers that did their summer sales seminar. You're partnering with the amazing Meredith Elliott Powell. You're partnering with Sam Richter. You have all these different pools of activity where you're pulling in other people for all these cool collaborations. Like Carlos Santana collaborates with other musicians, producers, and singers. Like Taylor Swift brings guests on stage and records with other people. That is and obviously Santana and Taylor are both fantastically successful. You're fantastically successful. Tell me how you think about these partnerships and how you create these 1 + 1 = 10 situations.
This has been the story of my life. This is how Outbound came about because that was really a mastermind group. And here's what I look for. First of all, does the person have integrity? If they don't have integrity and they don't have a level of authenticity, I don't want to touch them, period. I don't have time to deal with fake people because I want to know that if I'm going to do a relationship with you, my reputation's on the line and your reputation's on the line. I want to make sure I can hold up each other. That's why I partner with the people I align with because I have absolute, utter respect for them. Here's the whole thing. When you put a couple minds together, Vern Harnish uses this line, and of course, I don't think it's his line, but you never want to be the smartest person in the room, right? I love hanging out with really smart people. And what does it do? It creates better ideas. More so than ever, you need to have a community. And one of the things in my book I talk about is how do you create a mastermind group? How do you create a mastermind group that's got legs? And I share some examples. I talk about how do you nurture your network, not use your network. How do you nurture your network? There's various chapters in the book on that are all laid out very specifically just to guide you through the process. Because the smartest people in the room, the really smart people, always have other people. that they can count on. You know, when you and I did that thing together, that online thing, I remember we hatched it at the NSA. I don't know where we were that year, but we hatched it and we had this idea. And I remember we didn't meet the expectations, the goals that we had set. Remember, we had set some goals?
Remember, sure.
But we learned a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
We learned a lot. And from that, then I did some things, you did some things. I mean, it just, see, don't kick yourself if you try something and it isn't wildly successful. Don't kick yourself. You build on it. You build on it. I have far more failures than I have successes. Far more failures. But each failure just gives me the opportunity to learn and keep moving forward. Keep moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us a little bit. You do the podcast with Meredith. Tell us about that. You've got this great business with Sam. Tell us about that. And then let's circle back to Outbound for a minute. But let's go through all of those partnerships and just give us the quick rundown.
Yeah, well, the quick rundown, Meredith Elliott Powell, incredibly smart. She and I talked about this for about a year and we couldn't get it going. We hired somebody. To produce the podcast for us. See, that's what it took, you know? And we have a producer who produces it. Sales Logic is the podcast. And this gentleman we hired, and we did it right. And he's holding us accountable. He's making it work. So that's out there. That's neat. Sam Richter and I partnered together on an online program called High Profit Sales Coaching. And that is an online program. And again, we talked about this for a long time. We both had separate online programs. We said, let's come together. He has strengths with his Intel engine. I have strengths from prospecting, and it works.
And that's a course, or that's like a coaching? There's also some live contact with you and Sam.
Right. There's live contact with me. I do coaching sessions, and we have all this library of content, and we have the Intel search engine. You see, what we do is we say, I don't care what everybody else is doing. When everybody's doing yin, we're going to do yang. And that's been the model I have always aspired to. Same way with the launch of this book. I had people tell me, you can't launch a book right now. I had people in the speaking community who said, you can't launch a book. I said, no, I'm launching a book right now. And it has been wildly successful. Now, I believe the message is right for right now, but there was no way I was going to stop. Because, hey, if I stopped, how could I say I wrote the book of Mind for Sales when I allowed an obstacle to stand in my way?
Yes.
Not good.
You are the mindset poster child. If you start to put your head in the sand, we are all in deep trouble.
That is, considering I made the upper half of my class possible, you know.
Yes,
school,
exactly right. Well, you tell these great stories in the book, by the way, just to talk about the book. And I know that you and I have talked about this previously, that the way that you were just a miserable, utter failure in your first handful of sales jobs. And this is the guy who you would not want anywhere near sales like 25, 30 years ago. Right. This is a guy like, oh my God, please, anyone but Mark Hunter. And flip-flop that today, and you are the master, you are the guru, and you are helping thousands and thousands of others. Walk us through your business model, because you said that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. We already mentioned the online program. We already mentioned the conference. We already mentioned some of your speaking and seminars. What are some of the other revenue streams? And for folks that only have one right now, what do you recommend that they diversify into so they can have a little bit more breadth and stability even in this crazy time?
Well, I think, first of all, look at where your strength is. Come back to what is your personal outcome that you deliver. Then you figure the mediums. What's the mediums that you can use? My revenue stream really breaks down into several different paths. And one of the revenue streams is purely an investment. That's outbound. Outbound is purely an investment. We take no money out of it because we just reinvest. But what does it do? It becomes our advertising, our marketing machine. So my revenue is really broken down with online programs. I do one-off smaller coaching for smaller companies and so forth, which is all online right now. I have revenue from different papers and so forth. I will write for companies. In other words, they'll say, hey, would you help us put this together? I'll help put this together. I do consulting for several clients.
Now, is that articles or is that more like sponsored special reports, like a Jay Bear type strategy?
It's a special report for their use internally. They might say, hey, we need help with these sales materials. Would you help us do that? Fine.
Gotcha.
So it's not for public consumption. It's for their own use. Then I do consulting. I do consulting with clients, and that takes on several different forms. Long-term retainers. I'm a big Alan Weiss fan. And then I have, of course, the platform speaking, which is not happening right now. I have the classroom or the large event training. That's not happening right now. And then, of course, you and I share the same publisher, HarperCollins Leadership. But after it's all said and done, we don't make a whole lot. No. Hey, we won't share. When you use
Sarah nor Tim listen to this podcast, so it's fine.
Okay, good. Hey, seriously, I love it. Well, I'm sure people ask you, why do you use a publisher and not self-publish? And I use for a very simple reason, because they're a lot smarter than me. See, again, it's collaborating with smart people. That's why I like the people at HarperCollins Leadership.
Yes, absolutely right. What a great episode. Wowza. Tell you what, if you want to ramp up your revenue as an expert who speaks professionally, you should really check out our free online training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. Let's just pick up a couple of gems from the book, and I think these are especially relevant right now. Social selling. You have a great riff on social selling. That social selling is neither social nor is it selling. So now that people are online, and we are doing a lot more, hopefully, phone. I know Mark loves the phone. We all need to be on the phone having human-to-human conversations, and I agree with that 1,000%. Talk about social selling is neither social nor is it selling.
Well, okay, here's the problem. And I throw the dagger very hard, very fast in this direction, because what you don't want to do is you connect with somebody on LinkedIn or Facebook, and 30 seconds later, hey, well, it looks like your profile lines up with mine. I've got this great program for you. You weren't trying to be social, and for some reason you think you're selling. Well, let me tell you something. You are doing neither. Now, you and I both, we use social media platforms to sell. There's no doubt about it. But we create relationships first. We create dialogue first. We create authenticity first. We create transparency first. You see, we create the social fabric first. Then what we're doing is we're providing you with an opportunity. And remember, here's the whole thing about selling. If you know you can help somebody, if you have the ability to help somebody, then it's your responsibility to help them. Now, to the idiot who wanted to connect with me on LinkedIn yesterday and then proceeded to tell me that he'd look all through my website and he can help get me on the front page of SEO. So, excuse me, look, cowboy, go park yourself, because I don't know who you are. You're trying to connect with me and you're trying to sell me. Well, let me tell you something. Social selling, neither social nor selling.
Very, very nice. And really throughout the book, the mantra, and I know there's a whole section on it, but really throughout the book, almost from page 1, you talk about sales is not a numbers game. It's all about relationships. You don't close a sale, you open a relationship. So it almost becomes ridiculous when someone goes, well, Mark, yeah, I really don't like selling. I'm afraid of selling. I think selling is a little bit slimy. So let me get this straight. You don't like relationships. You don't like helping people. You don't like connecting. You don't like serving. And you don't like being of value. Okay. Well, I guess you don't like selling then.
Spot on. Because if you have a passion to help people, and let me tell you something, if you don't have a passion to help people, then go sit and watch Netflix all day, okay? It's helping people. And if you're helping people, what are you doing? You're helping them see and achieve what they didn't think. My goal every morning when I wake up in the morning is I want to influence and impact each person I meet so that I earn the right, the privilege, the honor, and respect to be able to come back and meet with you again. That's a pretty cool life. There are going to be some days that are going to be successful, and there are going to be some days that aren't. But you know what? I don't care. I play the long game.
Let me ask you for a mindset reset. I think a lot of people listening, they're like, Mark, look at my calendar, look at the devastation. Clients have canceled all the speaking, all this training. I have retainers, but they're asking for refunds. They're saying, oh, can we pause? Can we delay? Our cash flow is crunched. So people are seeing waves of revenue receding from their business. And here's you and me, because we're both playing out of the same playbook here, about keep selling, keep helping, keep serving, stay in the game. Don't let that affect your mindset. People might be looking at us like we're insane or we have 3 heads. How do we maintain our composure when our clients are suffering, events are being canceled, contracts are being canceled or paused or deferred? How do we stay strong mentally in the face of all that buffeting?
First of all, it's playing the long game. We have to remember the valley is never as deep as the valley as you think it is, and the mountaintop is never as high as it is, okay? And a month and a half ago, nobody would have thought we'd be here today, but we are. And so we don't know what a month and a half from now brings. You have to stay level because here's the whole thing. People are going to remember this time. And if you acted like a jerk now, believe me, they're going to remember that. Here's the whole thing. I believe I can help people. Nobody needs to pick up the phone and call me and tell me, hey, Mark, it sucks out there. I think I know it. I think I get it. What I want to have is I want to have a conversation that puts my focus on something long-term, puts my focus on the positive. So I want to be the person every day that's going to bring to you, what's an idea? What's something? I contend every day there are opportunities. But if we aren't in the right frame of mind, we will never see them. We will never see the opportunity. We'll drive right past it. And negativity becomes this cloud that just overwhelms our thinking. I'll tell you one quick story, and I can't say the CEO's name, but I worked with a CEO who went through a very difficult time. Fortune 100 company. They had the corporate helicopter, security, detail. This guy was incredibly nice. And I asked him, I said, why are you so nice? Because you don't have to be. He says, I'm nice because I really care about people. We were out to dinner one night, and he's incredibly nice to the waitstaff. And he said, here's the other reason I want to be nice to people. Because when I'm nice to people, I make better decisions. Now, this is a gentleman, if I shared with you the situations that this corporation went through, and the board of directors didn't throw him under the bus, did not terminate him. And they could have. They could very easily have. Because he was so calm and so focused and led that corporation through significant growth. He just retired a couple years ago. Amazing growth because he kept an even keel and was always finding new opportunities. During his tenure there, they pivoted multiple times. Every time there were some failures, but every time they found a way to navigate through problems. This is what we have to be right now. We have to be that calm person to our clients and to ourselves.
Let's wrap up. I've got just kind of a big question, and then we'll get to all kinds of cool resources and where people can get the book and the companion tools and the bonuses and the goodies. But people might be looking, folks like you and me, consultants, speakers, experts. They say, Mark, this is great. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. I'm here to plant seeds. I understand that people will remember how I treat them right now, and I'm going to take the high road. I'm not going to give in to scarcity and desperation and fear. And, not but, and what might be some fast cash strategies where I can start to pivot either my service model, my business model, my delivery model, some things that I can create that would be an easy yes for my clients and prospects to say yes to because of this turbulent, crazy time, not in spite of it. What are your thoughts?
Okay, create something very, very easy. And this might be a $39, this might be a $79, this might be a $99 quick thing that people can grab right now. You make it as simple and as easy for people to do business with you. Because what you want to do is you want to bring people in. This is the selling funnel type of deal, but you make it just very simple. But here's the challenge though. Don't say, oh, it's COVID-19 solutions, or no, forget it. Come on. Everybody's out there doing it. You got to be the yin in the yang. You got to be very specific, very, very tight. And here's the whole piece. You're going to put this out here as a $49, $79, maybe $299, maybe a $399. I don't care what it is. You do, and maybe you only get a couple takers. You do another one. You do another one. Then guess what? Now you've got 3 of these that you can now package up and put into a larger package that you can offer. Or you can say, hey, clients, you were a great client with me last year. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 seats to this right now. Okay? So what you're doing is you're creating content as you go. For several years, I was the champion of creating 10 lists of 10 things right now, 10 things. Like I told you earlier, I am putting this newsletter together every Sunday night called Stay Calm and Lead. I'm sending it out free right now. Somewhere down the road, I might start monetizing. I might build a product. Keep it simple. Run, go, do something, but don't sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, action eliminates fear. Action eliminates fear, both for us and for our clients and customers and prospects. Well, two final questions then. Mark Hunter, the final question is, where do people connect with you? Where do we get this fantastic new book? Where do we go? What do we do? But even before we get to that, if people were to take one central idea from our conversation today about selling, sales mindset, strengthening your sales mindset, strengthening your prospects' sales mindset, just generally all the things that we need to do to be successful, really today, but anytime, what would be some key mindset takeaways that you would love folks to take from our chat today?
I'm going to give you one thing right now. Find one idea each day from somebody and share it with somebody else. You talk to somebody, they give you an idea, you share it with somebody else. You become the one who helps other people grow. And when you do that, it's amazing how you will grow and it will change your mindset.
Good times, bad times, any times, right?
You got it. Don't stop selling. Don't stop selling. Please, please, please.
Love it. So we've got a mindforsales.com. Where else can we send people? What goodies can we give? Give us some landing pages, tools, bonuses. What do you got for us?
Yeah. Well, if you go out to a mindforsales.com, and that'll take you to the landing page. We got a whole bunch of free stuff there that you get if you get the book. Buy the book, and you can get the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, BAM, wherever a bookstore is open. You might be able to find. And the stuff is all there. And we're also, in fact, I'm going to be in the studio later on today. I live in Nebraska. We're not on stay at home. We're basically shut down. But I have another place that I'm going to and just do some more recording. Because again, we're putting out more content around this. You see, we're taking one product and you create multiple streams of revenue off it. But a mind for sales, it is without a doubt, it's not a book. People are calling it a message because it's a message of the way to reshape your thinking, especially right now.
I'm calling it a manifesto.
You use that word a lot.
I do. I tell people they need to write their manifesto. And my friend, you have written yours and it is amazing. A Mind for Sales. Get the book, get the bonuses, connect with the amazing Mark Hunter. Thank you so much, my friend. Another hugely impactful, fantastic interview. We have to have you back. Let's have you back some more.
I love being on your show. It's cool because you've written a couple great books, Do It Marketing and Do It Speaking. There's so much that I've learned from you. I'm one of those secret followers of yours, but it's amazing the number of people, and this is a real shout out to you, the number of people who send me notes saying, hey, did you see what David just put out? Hey, did you see this? I mean, I get more people who forward me your stuff as if I don't know who David Newman is, which is really kind of funny, but I love it. In fact, I had somebody the other day send me this. I just ran across this guy, David Newman. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but puts out some really good stuff. And I go, yeah, David's a good guy. He's a great guy.
There you go. So yeah, besides being friends for like 9-10 years, we hardly know each other.
We do not know each other.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
Thanks so much. Great selling.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.